this is Persephone, and this is a question I got asked from some ladies who wanted to do Femdom or start Femdom in 2021, and I'm going to say some things that are going to be really shocking, and people tend to misinterpret. So the summary, if you're too bored to watch the entire video, is that in my opinion, in 2021, where we are right now, Femdom has become a fake, dying, abusive trend for everyone involved. And if you're someone who wants to make money online, I would not recommend you to do Femdom. And I'm going to explain why. Before you start saying Persephone, borderline, devalue and discard again, complaining when you make so much money again, blah blah, I will tell you what led me to this. It wasn't always this way, okay? The problem started after COVID and intensifies. And the reason why I made this video is because recently I encountered yet another delusional, psychotic individual, narcissistic individual that tried to create drama so much. If it was 2 years ago, I would have been making videos talking about him. Now I'm just going to briefly mention him to show you what I mean. And one of the problems with Femdom is that, from my experience, the last 6 months, 98% of the people who actually approached me to want to be my subs were not real subs. They were from fake delusional individuals to potential psycho, I want to date you, I don't care boyfriends, to outright abusers. And I'm making this video because I want to protect those who want to do Femdom, and I also want to protect you as a sub, because what happens is that eventually many of the women who get to become goddesses, they start to get so fed up that they retaliate by scamming and abusing back. And most of the times they just end up throwing the baby together with the bathwater, you know. And what I'm saying is, there are a lot of people who actually live in what I would call a shared psychosis. I'm not a psychiatrist. You can consider the entire video psychology from Mordor if you want, but that's what I observe, so that's what I'm sharing with you. By shared psychosis, I mean it all starts with millennials. Zoomers are also quite crazy, but for me, the worst generation is millennials, and it's really bad because I'm a millennial myself, and they say that you always hate the next generation. For me, I have great distaste for my generation because I see so many people, especially men, that they feel that they deserve everything just because they exist. Like the magical thinking in The Secret, manifestation, I deserve it, so I'm going to get it, and I'm going to skip the hard work, I'm going to skip logic, balance, everything. What happens with those men is, okay, you know, I'm really tired of filtering things. I'm just going to say it right now. I don't care if it sounds narcissistic. This is someone on the internet and they feel entitled to date an internet personality. I'm going to call myself an internet personality for the sake of it, but before I make this video, I discussed it with many others and they have the same problems. They feel entitled that they're going to date someone who has an online presence when they have none. They know that if you directly leave a comment and say, hey, let's date, I'm not going to respond because I'm not looking to date anyone. So what happens is that they think, oh, hey, I'm going to throw some money at you and then you're going to chat with me and then you're going to see how great I am and then we're going to date. So what happens is those people join my OnlyFans or other paid services that I have. Again, this doesn't happen only to me, it's very common, so that's why I'm discussing it. And it always starts with, oh, this woman talks about Femdom, so she likes subs, so I'm just going to pretend I'm a sub. How difficult can that be? I'm going to tell you, pretending you're a sub with someone who does real Femdom is not going to work, because I can tell who is and who isn't quite fast from the way you talk to me, from the way you actually present yourself, from your entitlement, and they're not even smart to keep up the mask for long. So there was a person, to not speak with generalization, who decided to join my OnlyFans recently, spent a few $100, like I don't know, 300, 400, somewhere like that. And then he was starting to say that we should transition this interaction to real life social media and wanting me to add him to my real life social media. And I said, this is not going to happen. The reason for that is, first of all, once you join my OnlyFans, you join as a fan, and I'm not going to argue with people I know who are like my private life friends or private life business partners and so on. Because if I add you, let's say, on Facebook, because he didn't want to just me to add him on my Facebook page, he wanted me to add him on the private account that I have to, like, you know, administer on the page. And I said, these people tag me, like sell information that it's a private account, so that doxes them. And one thing I'm never going to do is dox unrelated people to the industry, because it's quite dangerous, you know? I don't know if I have told you the story where someone somehow found my white ex and was trying to catfish him, pretending to be me and sending naked pictures from like porn sites. And my ex is in a serious relationship. Like, can you imagine if his girlfriend found those things? Luckily, I'm much more honest than those people with those around me, so my ex immediately didn't believe them. But after that incident, I found it so disturbing that I said I'm not adding anyone to those things and drag other people into a mess. So this person kept bitching and eventually got restricted and then banned. So what I'm telling you here is that most of the people who are going to approach you, if you do femdom, they're going to do it with an agenda. The agenda is, I'm going to spend money to groom you into eventually agreeing to date me, or into eventually agreeing to meet me for femdom sessions, when in reality they just meet me for sex. And I'm the person that I don't point fingers at all. As long as you're a consenting adult and you want to do any kind of escorting, that's totally fine. You go out there and do you and be safe. But it pisses me off when people assume I'm a traveling escort, because I'm not. And if I was, let me tell you something openly. I have the IQ and I have the education to go find a rich sugar daddy like a college professor or something, and I would never, quote unquote, fly over to meet the random ass uneducated trash Americans for a few $100s. Like, if I would go down that path, I would go to actually get the big fish, not the shrimp. So this thing has gotten so much out of control that actually started to turn me more and more towards a more business-like approach, rather than, I was quite passionate about this, and if you see, I can't find my passion anymore. Does that mean that I'm quitting? Those people start saying you quit, you do this and that. No. It means I'm becoming even more selective, which means people like Robert that I've mentioned, that I have him as my sub for years, he's always respectful, he's a true sub, and we never had any problems. Of course I'm going to keep those subs because I enjoy the interaction with them. And if I actually manage to find someone who is also a true sub, the same thing. But the rest, so I'm telling you that recently I started to expand and create content in other areas like roleplay and stuff, or joy, and I'm very active on many vids. And I have so many people saying, we are fake, this is not femdom, why are you posting this? Because I want to and because I can and it sells. So if you're watching this and you're thinking of starting, I'm going to tell you, femdom is not femdom sessions anymore. It's not how good you look, it's not how seductive you are. It's essentially selling a parasocial relationship in 2021. It wasn't like that. And if you want to make money out of them, the only way is to actually scam them. Because I don't promote scamming, I'm just laying all the options on the table, but I am on many underground, quote-unquote, forums with cam girls, with femdom goddesses, with other sex workers that unless a member invites you, you cannot get in their kind of like secret societies, which I find pretty cool, to prevent men from joining. And they all say that they just lie to men, and they say, you know, one day we're going to meet, one day when I'm single, I'm thinking of dating you, and it's all bullshit. Most of them either date black men with huge penises, or handsome white men, or they have some kind of like, they could be trans and hiding it, or plan to save money to transition, and they're just lying to them. And they say, you know, I'm going to save up XYZ amount of money and then I'm going to ghost that guy. So I don't want to behave like that. And if someone wants to start, because many of you ask me, I would say it's much better to start trying to make more mainstream content, in my opinion, or see the trends. If you don't know what is trending, again, I find ManyVids an amazing platform. When it comes to OnlyFans, I still use it, I'm still very active in there, but I decided I'm going to have a much bigger backup. So you can see what is trending there and see if you like some of those things, and try making content and try interacting with those as your main focus. I wouldn't recommend femdom. And to the men who are actually doing this, I would say, when you try to scam, when you try to manipulate, you're setting yourself up to be scammed and manipulated right back. And I don't know, it seems to me that there's a very big percentage of people who doesn't understand how relationships work. You're not going to pay me $300, $400, $1,000 and for me to agree to be your girlfriend. That is not how genuine attraction works. That is escorting. But the problem is that They don't come there to say, hey, how much for, let's say, one night stand. They're coming there and say, I paid this much, so now you have to like me. So to go back to my previous example, the guy who was throwing a fit that it won't transition to a quote-unquote real friendship, I told him, imagine me going to the restaurant for 2 days in a row, eating, and then the third day say to the chef, well, we know each other now, so starting today you're going to take me with you to your house and you're going to start cooking for me every night together with your family and friends, because after all, we have so much in common. I came twice to your restaurant and I paid. I think the chef would call the security to escort me out. But because digital sex work and actual sex work are one of the most dangerous jobs on the planet, I don't have anyone to escort this freak out. I have to escort him out myself. So I'm going to say it here for the last time. After that, I'm not even going to respond, so please pay attention. There are specific rules that exist in this world for thousands of years, and they're not going to change anytime soon, I think. So either you can play the game by the rules and give yourself a winning chance, or you can just keep getting scammed until you get more bitter, older, irrelevant, and you die alone in your house. The rule is, young hot women want either young hot men or well-preserved older men with money. That's the only thing they're interested in. Women are biologically programmed to be merciless. They are the ones actually executing natural selection when it comes to breeding. So if you are unattractive, they're not going to like you. If you have a small penis, they're not going to like you. If you're broke as a joke, they're not going to like you. If you have an atrocious personality that applies to me because of Asperger's, I'm not going to like you. I want to remind you that I've been through so much all of these years for one reason: to escape my bitchy, toxic, extremely abusive family and extremely abusive workplaces, that when I was growing up autistic, there was not a single person there to not take one look at me and say, you will never be anything and you have to change, you have to be normal. So I said screw to all of that. And let me tell you, I'm so happy, I'm so sadistically enjoying it, Schadenfreude enjoying it, that all those people who looked down on me went back shamed to their daddy's and their mommy's house, and they rot there and they'll never be anything. Sucks to be neurotypical in 2021, huh? Okay, small psycho interval over, back to what we're saying. So if you don't have anything going for you and you're unattractive, easy way to know you're unattractive: women in real life don't care about you. Don't think that prettier women who are online with thousands of options will care about you. So either way, either you level up to make money and have a choice to attract women who are going to look for a provider eventually at some point in their life, or you have to fix your looks. The person that actually was harassing me to add him to my real life social media makes over 8,000 a month, confirmed. Confirmed how you're going to say, well, you know, I'm an internet stalker, I can dig up, I can find real information pretty quickly. You can easily send like an IP grab link, see the IP, see what comes from that IP. I'm not going to creep you out here. So that person truly has a good job. 8,000 a month is a good job even for an American. It is enough to afford therapy. Will he go to therapy? No. It is enough to afford the gym. Will he go to the gym? No. It is enough to afford Whole Foods or some kind of healthy eating or to see a dietitian. Will he do any of that to stop being a fat, disgusting, gross man? No. Do you know what he's going to do? He's going to take cam girls or goddesses and force them to insert himself into their lives like a used butt plug. Well, that's not going to work. That's not how real life works. So if you want to have a chance, you have to start treating love like a combination, a hybrid between warfare and business. Otherwise, you're not going to actually win. And in warfare and in business, anything goes, and you have to work hard and you have to experience pain. So if you are one of these blob of fat, lazy, and looking at me from your SSI room somewhere in rural America, prepare your life that is going to be full of scamming, pain, and the psychiatrist lying to you and prescribing antipsychotics and anti-anxiety medication to you. I'm saying this because someone has to tell you, because it seems that the truth that I used to think it was common sense now has become more precious than gold. No one is telling you the truth. I don't know when we stop believing in basic nature laws. Look at everywhere around you in nature and tell me any animal, any female animal on the planet that is not going to avoid an obese, sick, with an aberrant behavior mate, they're not going to mate with it. They're just going to start attacking it until they kill it, actually. Look at that. Seeing it at the lion pack, what happens to the lion, to the male lion, when it can't hunt anymore? It gets replaced and they go have sex with a strong young lion. Now you're going to say, Persephone, people are not animals. Actually, they are to a very big extent. We're animals with technology. So I don't know where this belief happened that you're just going to throw a few $100 and femdom goddesses are going to be into you. So to summarize this video, I don't want to make it a rambling. If you are a man who wants to date and you can't date, you have no success, you drop the campsites, you drop the dating sites, you pick up the phone or you pick up the email and you start trying to find therapy to first of all figure what's wrong with you. If you look down and you can't see your penis because layers and layers of fat are covering it, you pick up the phone to call the doctor to see how you're going to lose that weight. Ideally, you do both. And if you're a woman who actually wants to make money online doing what I do or something similar, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to start the channel about mainstream coming, more mainstream and mainstream content creation, because I get many mails from women who actually want my help, and I'm not going to recommend femdom anymore. If you want to do it selectively, like I said, with people who are actually submissive, that's very fulfilling, that's actually a nice interaction, and you should do it. But the majority, from my experience, and I say this with this channel and having so much exposure, 90% of the people I get who harass me are garbage, and they're not worth keeping as long-term subs. And your money do come from long-term subs. They don't come from one person who comes to bust a nut at your OnlyFans and then out of the door next month. So you need to start building a more consistent audience, and most of these people are not going to be a consistent audience because they're not even subs. They're people who are trying to groom you into dating them, and they're psycho. I don't know if this made sense. Hopefully that helped someone who wants to start. You can look below in my other channels. There is a channel called Virtual Fantasy that is going to be about coming, so feel free to go there and I'm going to see you there. Thank you for watching.